proper assimilation of data collection. Hello, I'm from the research department. I would be pleased if you can call your father or mother, as I would like to collect some data.
My father will come in 20 minutes. Please have a seat till then.
Thank you.
I would be pleased to know, what are you here for?
I am an enumerator by profession. I have come here to collect data about your family, which would help me to conduct a survey.
What is a data and how do you conduct a survey?
We enumerators collect information from households or industries. We then analyze the data and show a bigger picture of its working. Data, thus, is a tool which helps in understanding problems by providing information. Hence, by collecting relevant data from different places, we conduct a survey which gives us an overview of its working of households, firms, nations, and so on.
I remember one enumerator coming last year too. Do you have to collect data periodically?
Yes, the data collected by us fluctuates over a period of time. These are called variable data or simply variables. We usually use X, Y, and Z as variables for establishing a correlation between different variables.
Are we the only source where you collect the data from?
We categorize sources of data collection in two ways: primary sources of data and secondary sources. Not necessarily from households always. It depends on the survey, whether it is on a household, industry, or a nation. Accordingly, the data is collected.
What is the difference between primary sources and secondary sources?
The enumerator may collect the data by conducting an inquiry or an investigation. Such data is called primary data, as it is based on first-hand information. Thus, the data which will be collected by me is primary data.
What would be the secondary data sources?
If data has been collected, processed, scrutinized, and tabulated by some other agency, it is termed as secondary data. Generally, the published data are secondary data. Data can be obtained either from published sources or from any other source. For example, a website.
What is the use of conducting such surveys?
Conducting surveys helps a firm to understand where their firm stands in the market. For example, McDonald's may want to have information on the following aspects. 1. Their influence in the market. 2. Preferences of consumers with regards to one of their hot-selling items, let's say burgers. 3. Their competitors, for example, say KFC. 4. Which fast food restaurant is preferred and the reasons for the same. Thus, technically speaking, the purpose of surveys is to describe some characteristic like price, quality, usefulness of the products, and popularity, honesty, loyalty, and other factors of the consumers. It helps to get a response from the people and can provide a larger picture of the functioning. The primary purpose of the survey is to collect data. The feedback form which you will fill after leaving a hotel or a restaurant is in fact a part of a survey.
Yes, I did fill a similar feedback form at Pizza Hut and wondered the purpose of the same.
Yes, feedback forms are one of the instruments used for conducting a survey.
What about the rest of the instruments used for conducting a survey?
The most common type of instrument used in surveys is a questionnaire or interview schedule. The questionnaire is either self-administered by the respondent or administered by the enumerator or trained investigator.
I have heard the term questionnaires a lot of times with regard to surveys. Can you please explain that?
Questionnaires are a set of printed or written questions with a choice of specific answers, devised for the purposes of a survey or statistical study. It is by far the most used instrument to collect data.
The designing of the questions need to be accurate, isn't it?
Designing the questions for a questionnaire should be extremely accurate and precise. Then only it would serve its purpose. If the questions are not framed in an appropriate manner, the result would not be accurate and would affect the success of the survey.
Are there any specific guidelines to be followed while framing questions?
While preparing the questionnaire, the following aspects need to be considered. 1. The questionnaire should not be too long. Restrict the number of questions to a minimum, as long questionnaires discourage people from completing them. The questionnaire should start from general questions and proceed to more specific ones.
Would you please elaborate with an example?
Following are the features of a good questionnaire. Let's say I am conducting a survey on the state of water supply in your locality. Non-specific questions would be: 1. Is increase in water charges justified? 2. Is the water supply in your locality regular? The first question asked was specific, and the second question asked was more of a general one. A better order of asking the questions, that is, general to specific, would be: 1. Is the water supply in your locality regular? 2. Is increase in water charges justified? There is also a possibility that the individual's true response is not present among the options given. For this, the choice of any other is provided, where the respondent can write a response which was not anticipated by the researcher.
Wow! I never knew the thought process that went in framing the questions. Besides personal interviewing, are there any other modes of conducting a survey?
Yes, of course. There are 3 basic ways of collecting data. 1. Personal interviews. 2. Mailing surveys. 3. Telephone interviews. The type of interview I am conducting falls under the category personal interview. In such a case, the enumerator conducts face-to-face interviews with the respondents.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of this mode of conducting a survey?
Personal interviews are preferred due to various reasons. A quick look at them. On the other hand, there are a few disadvantages of personal interviews. A quick look at them.
What about the mailing questionnaires?
When the data in a survey is collected by mail, the questionnaire is sent to each individual by mail with a request to complete and return it within a stipulated time frame. A quick look at the benefits of mail questionnaires. On the flip side, mail questionnaires have their own drawbacks. A quick look at them.
What about the telephonic interviews? How useful are they?
In a telephone interview, the enumerator asks questions over the telephone. The enumerator lists a few specific questions which he asks over the phone. On receiving the answers from the respondent, the same are noted by him. A quick look at the advantages and disadvantages of telephonic interviews. I believe this information will suffice by itself to understand the basics of conducting a survey.
Thanks a lot for sharing the same with me. It has really expanded my knowledge.
Thanks a lot. I must take your leave. I will come next time when your parents are at home.